I'm Shannon.
And I'm Holly.
And this is a Girls Gone Curious podcast, where we talk about things that make us curious. So grab your favorite drink, sit back and relax, because your show is loading. Today's episode includes strong language and the death of animals. This podcast is not suitable for children. We do apologize if we say any of the names or places wrong in today's episode. This week's true crime category is ridiculous history, so let's get into it.
A lot of times when I'm laying in bed at night or just relaxing, I come across very strange things on my phone. If you've listened to our Just Chat episodes, you would know what I'm talking about. In those episodes, I have shared what has come across my For You page late at night, after I have scrolled too far. So, this is going to be a series of events and things that I found. Some are ridiculous and some are just like, did that really happen? While others are just stuff I found cool. So not necessarily all ridiculous,
Right.
but some.
Right.
The first thing I'm going to talk about is the first prison in the United States. At least the first recorded prison. It is believed that it was possible that there was another first prison, but it was like in Maine. But like it isn't like on record. The Old Newgate Prison in Connecticut. In 1773, it would open for people who broke the law and also for loyalists who were in support of the King of England. But before we get deeper into the prison, we gotta go back a little bit. So, what did they do before prisons? It would be a list of various things. This would include fines, labor, flogging, maiming, public restraints, and execution. When a criminal was arrested, they were held at the local police station or sheriff's department until they determined what punishment they would get. So they wouldn't be there for too long. It was just to figure out basically what they were going to do with them. A lot of the time, it would be public shaming, like lashings and branding. Now, the Old Newgate Prison wasn't built with the idea of keeping prisoners there. Before it became a prison, it was the Simsbury Copper Mine that had been in work since 1707. At first, it would work as a good place to get copper, but after some years, they would realize it was struggling to meet production, losing its value as a copper mine. Around this time is when the General Assembly were beginning to look for an alternative for corporal punishment. They believed this was the perfect solution for it. Prisoners would be placed in these mines with deep shafts, isolated away from society, and it could also conceal the harsh punishments done to them. While there, they would often suffer from mistreatment like abuse, with limited access to clean food, clothes, and water, along with the harsh conditions of constant exposure to the cold, wet, and dangerous surroundings. It is not confirmed what type of crime you would have to commit to get sent to this prison. I also don't know how long they would keep each prisoner there, or if it varied by the crime you committed. What I do know is that it really began taking into effect in the 1790s. This would be a significant testament towards imprisonment and the move away from public punishment. It would also lean towards retribution and rehabilitation. The Old Newgate would close in 1827 due to costing too much to run, and it was considered inhumane. I mean, they're keeping you in a mine shaft.
Yeah, that's Yeah, that's crazy. I imagine the conditions that they were in, like their skin was probably coming off because of being
Oh my
wet all the
God.
time.
Gross. Today, the Old Newgate operates as a historic museum in East Granby, Connecticut. It contains a visitor center, outdoor prison yard, historic structures, and the copper mine. They also offer public tour of the abandoned mines. Otherwise, it is a self-exploring museum. It is closed for the season right now, but they are due to open in May of 2026. A general admission is $10 for 18 to 64-year-olds, $8 for anyone over 65, $5 for 6 to 17-year-olds, and children under 5 get in free. I definitely thought it was very interesting because it was like a mine, not.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
Yeah, like the typical prison that you think about. Like that.
Yeah.
That's definitely not one of the options.
No. And to me, it looked like they had like houses. I mean, not
Mhm.
houses, but like buildings that were above ground.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know exactly how everything.
Like if that was where the sheriff and
Yeah. Guards or
yeah.
something.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was like maybe an entrance to the mines.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea.
Hmm.
Or if there was a building around the entrance of the
Yeah.
mines.
Maybe that's also where they would get food, but it said that the food was like they were fed in the mines.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, it says they had limited clothes, food, and
Mhm.
water. Crazy.
Yeah.
Our next topic is going to be the Great Emu War. Sadly, it's not as funny as I
was hoping it to be.
Yeah. Like your chicken wars.
Yeah.
Following World War I, discharged veterans were given land by the Australian government in Western Australia. They were pretty much given land to start farming. This would be in the wheat belt region, like Chandler and Walgoolan. Farmers would clear land and make water supplies, like dams and wells and all that stuff. This would also be during the onset of the Great Depression, so the wheat prices were already decreasing. So on top of the Great Depression, they also had all of this stuff going on.
Yeah.
The emus regularly migrate after breeding season and goes towards the coast from inland. While traveling, they look for new land to inhabit. Usually this can be groups of over 20,000 emus.
Oh my god.
If not more. With the new land cleared and new water supplies built, the emu thought the farmland would be the perfect place. So they would begin invading the farmers' land. They consumed and spoiled the crops, along with damaging the fence, leaving big open gaps, allowing other animals like rabbits to get in. Farmers would voice their concerns, and a group of ex-soldiers went to the Minister of Defense, George Pierce. They would request for machine guns and for their deployment. Pierce would agree with some conditions. The guns would only be allowed to be used by military personnel. Farmers must provide food, accommodations, and payment for the ammunition, and the Western Australian government would finance it. Pierce would also agree to it because he claimed it would be good target practice. The war, I don't know if you can call a war, was supposed to begin in October 1932, but was postponed until November 2nd, because the rainfall caused the emus to scatter. So they were no longer in groups. This was conducted under Major Gwydden Purves Wayne Aubrey Meredith of the Royal Australian Artillery 7th Heavy Artillery. His commanding soldiers were Sergeant S. McMurray and Gunner J. O'Halloran. November 2nd, they traveled to Campion with the plan to kill a group of 50 emu that was spotted. However, it didn't go to plan. It is unknown how many they were able to kill, but it wasn't a lot of them. This was due to the emu being out of range for gunfire. When they tried to herd them into an ambush, it still didn't go as planned. I think I heard maybe 4 or 5. I seen maybe 4 or 5 had been killed, not a lot.
Yeah.
Which technically is good, because I don't know if I agree to mass slaughter.
Yeah.
November 4th, they would ambush another group of emu near a local dam. It is possible that this group consisted of over 1,000 of them. Once again, it didn't go to plan. They would kill about 12 emus before their guns would start jamming. By November 8th, 25 rounds of ammunition had been fired. The amount of emus dead is unknown, but possibly anywhere from 50 to 500. That's a pretty big gap.
That's what I was going to say. That's a pretty big difference there.
And it's possible that they were over-exaggerating as well. One of them said that there was no casualties except for their dignity. On the same day, November 8th, Pierce would withdraw them from the area. Farmers would once again ask for help in getting rid of the emu. They would claim that they were invading in the thousands. James Michael, Premier of Western Australia, lent support of military assistance. In the initial operation, they killed 300 emus. Pierce would approve the resumption on November 12th and place Meredith back into the field. After the first 2 days, 40 emus were killed. The third day was less successful. By December 2nd, they would claim that they killed at least 100 each week. On December 10th, Meredith confirmed 986 emu deaths with 9,860 rounds, along with 2,500 wounded that would die from their wounds. So that's already over 3,000 emus. This would seem to work for a while, but the farmers would request the help again in 1934, 1943, and 1948. They were all denied. Now, the bounty system that was instigated in 1923 would help, and in 1934, for a period of 6 months, they killed 57,034 emus.
Jesus Christ.
Many people from different countries would say that this was just exterminating the emu population. And it was really just a mass destruction of the birds. Which I kind of agree with.
Mm-hmm.
In 2023, the movie The Emo War was made, and it was based on this. So I honestly don't know if this could be actually considered a war or not, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess in my opinion, it wouldn't be a war, but it just like with the chicken one that I wouldn't consider that a war. I just thought it was funny with the title.
Yeah. Moving on. During the German bombing campaign, also known as the Blitz, a bomb would fall through the roof of a home in England. In this home lived a person with their Great Dane, Juliana. When the bomb fell through the roof, Juliana would put it out by going over and peeing on it, extinguishing the flames. She would earn a medal from Blue Cross, a UK animal welfare charity. This wouldn't come to light until years later. When a relative of the person visited their home, they would see the picture of Juliana. On this portrait of her was a plaque attached to it telling her story. This would tell the story of not only saving her owner once, but twice. In 1944, she alerted her owner of a fire that was happening in their shoe shop. These mementos were sold in 2013 at an auction for £1,100, or what is about £1,400 as of 2024, which is about $1,800 in US money.
What a good girl.
Yeah. It is crazy to me that she put out a bomb with her pin. Like, what did that dog think to, like, fire?
Yeah. Yeah. This is my moment.
Something. Now I could talk about animal stories that have saved people in the war or during the war for pretty much forever.
Mm-hmm.
There's endless stories out there, which would cause me to look up all the types of animals that have been enlisted in war. A lot of them I already knew about, like horses and dogs, but some of them did surprise me. I do want to say the ones that I'm going to list aren't necessarily all of them. They're just the ones that I found. For transporting and carrying loads, they would often use horses, elephants, camels, mules, oxen, and donkeys. They would also use sled dogs and reindeer in places with snow. At one point, Sweden and the Soviet Union tried to utilize moose as deep snow cavalry. However, it didn't work out for a couple of reasons. They were unstable for warfare, easily contracted livestock diseases, and were difficult to feed, along with they would flee from the battlefield.
Peace out, fuckers.
Yeah, pretty much like, I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there is one story of a bear named Wotek. He was a Syrian brown bear who was given to the Polish soldiers as a gift. Who the fuck gives a gift of a bear?
I think a bear.
He was from an Iranian shepherd and was adopted by the soldiers of the 2nd Polish Corps during World War II. Wotek would be drafted into the Polish army as a private and was listed among the soldiers of the 22nd Artillery Supply Company. He would help carry 100-pound crates of 25-pound artillery shells. This service promoted him to rank as high as a corporal. He became famous among visiting generals and statesmen. After the war in 1945, he was transported to Berwickshire, Scotland, with the rest of the 22nd Company. He was stationed at a farm there and became popular among the locals. On November 15, 1947, after the troops were disbanded, he was given to the Edinburgh Zoo. He would live out the rest of his life there.
Oh.
And I believe when people of the 22nd Company would come, he would recognize them.
Aww. They better be coming, like, lots.
Yeah, I hope so. As fighter mounts and weapons, dogs, lions, pigs, rhinos, elephants, and even cattle would be used. They were all trained to attack or distract the enemy. Pigs were often used to scare elephants because they hated or were scared of the pig's squeal. Some animals were used as living bombs, like pigs, chicken, monkey, bats, pigeons, and dogs. They would either douse them in oil and light them on fire as they ran towards the enemy, or they would strap bombs to them like the anti-tank dogs that were trained to find the enemy's tanks. Fucked up.
That's bullshit.
Yeah. At some point, they would take the carcasses of rats and put plastic explosions in them. They would leave them in the enemy territory, like in a factory, putting them near a boiler or something that would cause a bigger explosion. Then they would also use animal carcasses to camouflage bombs on the side of the road.
Damn.
Blue Peacock was a British project in 1950 to try to combat the fact that when you bury bombs in the ground, they would stop working due to the coldness. One idea was to cast live chickens with the bomb in hopes that the chicken's body would keep the bomb at working temperature. They believed that the chicken would stay alive for about a week. This idea was cast aside and not used.
Wow.
For communications, homing pigeons and dogs were used. The birds would carry messages and fly to the places they needed to. In espionage, they would try to use pigeon photography, where I believe that they would strap a camera to them and then send them into enemy territory. This wasn't very successful. And then I'm assuming they had like a timer or something. I don't know. An experiment would take place to try to surgically modify live cats, which didn't work.
You think? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I believe a lot of this was like in the 1900s when they were trying to do all this shit.
Test all theories.
For locating hazards like bombs and detecting poisonous gas, dogs, chickens, and giant pooched rats would do this. Dolphins and sea lions did underwater sensory duty, mine clearance, and object recovery. Mercy dogs led medics to wounded soldiers or would carry medical supplies for the medics. Ship cats were used to try and control vermin on Navy ships. In the Spanish Civil War, they would attach fragile supplies to live turkeys. Then, while in the air, pilots would pretty much just throw them out. Their wings would basically be used like a parachute. Not only did this deliver things to the soldiers, but they would also use this turkey as food.
That's interesting, actually.
Yeah.
The turkey one.
Yeah. The other ones are bullshit.
Yeah. I get the cats, though, too, being on deck.
Yeah, the vermin.
Mm-hmm. Although sometimes the rats might be bigger than...
And I get, like, the mercy dogs and that carry the supplies and feed to the wounded.
Yeah. But surgically trying to alter cats to...
Yeah. There was also a thing that I didn't put in, but it was, like, psychologically how they used animals against people.
Oh, yeah.
Like, in Egypt, they would put a cat in front of Egyptians, and I don't know exactly what they did, but they would do it until, like, they confessed or caved or something. Because I know in Egypt, cats were highly...
Like, noble?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Or worshipped?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up is the Kentucky meat shower. On March 3rd, 1876, Miss Rebecca Crouch was making soap outside of her home in Bath County, Kentucky. This was about 50 miles east of Lexington. A few weeks later, after this incident, she told the New York Herald reporter this. On Friday morning, March 3rd, between the hours 11 and 12 o'clock, I was in my yard. The skies were clear and the sun was shining brightly. There was a light wind coming from the westerly direction, without any prelude or warning, and exactly under these circumstances, the shower commenced. I then walked around and saw a large piece of it strike the ground behind me, with a snapping-like sound when it struck. The largest piece that I saw was as long as my hand and about half an inch wide. It looked grisly, as if it had been torn from the throat of some animal. So, what came down from the sky? To this day, no one really knows. It would appear that it rained some sort of meat on Crouch's property. This spanned almost to the size of a football field. It is unclear how long it rained meat, but I'm only assuming a couple minutes tops. At least I would hope.
Yeah.
Her grandson believed it was snowing when it happened. Most of the pieces were only the size of large snowflakes. Once her husband got home, he would start picking up the pieces of the meat. It's unclear what he would do with this meat, but it was mentioned he picked them up after their animals started eating it and looked like they enjoyed it. So I hope he wasn't picking them up to eat them.
Yeah, I would. Oh my gosh, I wouldn't even let my animals eat it. You don't know what the hell it is. I mean, well, obviously it's meat, but you don't know, like.
Yeah.
No.
One person would claim that it was bear meat, while another would actually try the meat before spitting it out. He claimed he didn't know what kind of meat it was and never tasted anything like it before, saying the closest resemblance was mutton or possibly venison. Some of these samples of meat would be flown and sent to many different places to try and figure out what it was. In July 1876, Scientific American posted an opinion of what they believed it was. They thought it was nostoc, which is a type of gelatinous cyanobacteria, believing that the wind carried these pieces. I highly doubt that.
Mm-hmm.
A week later, the New York Times said it was just a meteoric shower. Sure, let's go with that.
Whatever.
But most people would agree that it was probably just from a flock of birds, like vultures. While flying, they vomited their food, believing if one bird saw another bird throw up, they would also throw up, and then the chain would continue, making the whole flock vomit.
And there was people there was people trying it.
Delicious.
Now shake ya.
One sample of this mystery meat remains in a glass bottle of alcohol at the Monroe Medical and Science Museum at the Transylvania University in Lexington, Kentucky.
There's a Transylvania University? Apparently.
The school was actually chartered before Kentucky actually became a state.
I was looking up the gelatinous cyanobacteria, and it says that it's a slimy jelly-like object that appears on damp soil, gravel, and pavement after rain. But she said it wasn't raining, except for the meat. It was windy, but not like
crazy windy. It was like a light breeze, pretty much.
So
And
I
then,
don't think so.
like, this dude is saying that it just, like, picked up off the ground and then floated really high and then came down like rain.
Yeah. I don't think so.
Well, and especially, like, the piece that was as big as her hand.
Yeah.
Mm,
No, I don't think so. And it
no.
says that it's most common on greenhouse floors and gravel driveways. No.
Yeah, definitely
I'm not buying it.
interesting. I think the most logical sense is the bird throw up.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking too.
That's the most logical sense
Yeah.
to me.
Gross. I just keep picturing the guy that. Well, I don't know if it was a guy, but just someone like. Yeah. I'm gonna try it. It's nothing like I've tried before.
Oh,
No, because
fucking
it's bird
gross.
vomit.
Fucking gross.
Oh shit.
Okay, moving on.
Thank you.
My stomach is turning.
Yeah.
Next, we're getting into the dancing plague of 1518. In the summertime, on July 14th, 1518, a woman named Fra Trophia in the city of
Strasbourg.
modern France, started dancing. With no music or reason, she would keep dancing until she collapsed while being sweaty and convulsing. She would succumb to exhaustion and fall into a deep sleep. When she woke up, she would begin dancing again with no breaks or pauses. People believed that she was possessed by the devil. This would repeat day after day. After a couple days and weeks, other people would begin following suit. In the end, it is recorded that somewhere around 400 people would join in this uncontrollable dancing. This would go on for months, continuing dancing no matter how bloody or bruised their feet became. Many people would begin to believe that Saint Vitus was the one causing them to dance. Saint Vitus was a Sicilian saint martyred in 303 AD and was known to curse sinners with uncontrollable dancing if they angered him. Trophia was brought to a shrine on the Vosges Mountains as an act of atonement, but it would still not stop. People would dance in their homes and in public with mindless intensity. You might be questioning, how do we know this is real and not made up? Well, in the end, we honestly don't know, but there are many records and literature on it almost proving that it happened. Like, too much of a coincidence to be
dismiss it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the records still held in the city's archives said, "There's been a strange epidemic lately going amongst the folk, so that many in their madness began dancing, which they kept up day and night, without interruption, until they fell unconscious. Many have died of it. It is possible that over 100 people died from this continuous dancing, some from heart attacks, strokes, and exhaustion. One source said that someone died every day for 15 days straight."
Damn.
A chronicle written by architect Daniel Specklin noted that the city council came to a conclusion of believing it was the results of overheated blood in their brains. The council would come up with a misguided solution. In hopes to stop the dancing, they would encourage the dancing, setting up guide halls with music and strong men to hold up the people who were too tired to stand and dance, but still were trying to dance. They were hoping that if they danced, they would eventually get it out of their system. Unfortunately, this wasn't the case. Realizing this wasn't working, they would go in the complete opposite direction. They would ban all dancing and music, believing that these people were infected by the holy wrath. Eventually, they were all taken to a shrine dedicated to Saint Vitus in a grotto in the hills near the town Sassarin. Red shoes were placed on all of them as they danced around a wooden figure of the saint. Weeks would pass, and at some point, the dancing would end. The dancing continued from July to September in 1518. It is unknown if the shrine actually helped or not. You can believe what you want to believe. Now, what caused this plague? Honestly, we still don't know. There have been many theories from both the past and modern times. One modern theory is that it was because of ergot, which is a psychotropic mold that grows in damp stalks of rye. It produces the effects like LSD. It causes delusions and spasms. Believing that this would be in the bread and other products they made with rye. Ergot is actually what most people believe caused the Salem witch trials. And if you haven't listened to that episode, go back and listen to it, because it's pretty good.
It is.
The only other thing about this theory is that ergot also decreases blood supply, making it hard to believe that this was the cause. Because they doubt that they would be able to continuously dance like they claim they did. Whereas I probably believe it in the Salem witch trials because they weren't.
Yeah. Doing excessive things except for killing people.
John Waller, a historian, would bring up the possibility of mass hysteria that was brought on by horrible conditions, like extreme poverty, disease, and starvation, causing them to enter a stress-induced psychosis of dancing. Another belief is that it was because they believed in Saint Vitus. This wasn't the only record outbreak of uncontrollable dancing. The town surrounding River Rhine had the strongest belief in Saint Vitus, and this is where most of the recordings are from. This included records of parading naked, obscene gestures, fornicating in public, and the ones dancing would get violent towards the ones that weren't joining. This would encourage the spread of it, and then they would enter a dissociative mental state. So add this to the religious beliefs and mass hysteria, and people believe you get the dancing plague of 1518. This is just theories because in the end we don't have real proof of what happened and what caused it. One of my thoughts is maybe it was something in the town, and when they brought them to the shrine and to a different place, maybe it got out of their systems in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's really the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. Someone put something extra in their drink or their food.
Yeah. Something. In the 11th century in Kolbeck, Saxony, a similar thing happened. They blamed it on divine judgment. In the 15th century in Apula, Italy, a woman was bitten by a tarantula and they made her dance, thinking that the only way to get the poison out was to dance and have the right kind of music to dance to. This was accepted by scholars like Anthemius Kircher. In 2022, the song Choromania by Florence and the Machine was created based on this incident, being the third track in their album Dance Fever, which was also named after this incident. There has been also a couple of other songs based on this, and even a short film and a book series.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering, like, if it went into detail, like in their records, if they, like, if it was certain ages, if it was, was it people in their late,
Younger? Was it people that were older?
yeah, was it a mix, was it like mixture of all, because it was, I don't know.
Was it mainly female or
Yeah.
was it mainly male?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different.
Yeah.
I don't think there's very much like research in that part
Yeah.
because it is 1518.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know what is still. They say there's a bunch of stuff that's archived in the same city still, but I don't know what that is.
Right.
Okay, next topic. The dangling baby cage.
Say what now?
Yeah, when I saw that this is one of the things, like, I didn't have it on my list, but I saw it and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into it. In 1884, the book The Care and Feeding of Children came out by Dr. Luther Emmett Holt. In this book, he would claim that children should be aired out, saying, fresh air is required to renew and purify the blood, and this is just as necessary for health and growth as proper food. The appetite is improved, the digestion is better, the cheeks become red, and all signs of health are seen. I'm sure we have a lot of opinions on that, but let me finish before I see that look. Dr. Holt would recommend taking your babies outside or just putting their basket near an open window. Now this is where it gets ridiculous if it isn't already ridiculous to you. Instead of doing what Dr. Holt suggested of either taking them outside or putting them near a window, parents would begin putting their babies into basically a chicken wire cage that hangs from the window. So pretty much hanging them out the window like an air conditioner.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like,
yeah.
The doctor, like, even if you think what the doctor said was stupid, like, nowhere in there did he say put your baby in a cage like your chicken and
hang it out the
window. Fucking dumbass people.
So it was more like a half cage, like say where like the cage's door would be open. That was actually all open. And then it was kind of put out and like held by some sort of something. So it was kind of just like an extension, but like it's a chicken wire cage.
Yeah. Good Lord.
There's a bunch of pictures of it too that I can show you. In 1906, Eleanor Roosevelt would try out this idea, but shortly abandon it when her neighbors began threatening to call authorities.
You think?
Yeah. The first commercial patent for these baby cages would be in 1922. Emma Reed from Washington patent described her invention of the portable baby cage that you could hang out your window. It would become moderately popular in the United States. However, it would really take off in the 1930s in London, mainly used by families that lived in apartments or tight urban areas. They believed that putting your baby out in the cold weather or giving them cold baths would help their immune system fight off colds. At some point, believed to be in the 1950s, this idea would begin to wane. Many would question the safety of these cages and leaving your children out in the cold. No shit. Now, there are some cultures that still believe that introducing babies to the cold will help fight off things like colds. But the fact that it was normal just to hang your baby out the window to air out is fucking crazy.
Yeah, I can't wrap my head around that whatsoever.
So when I saw this, I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck do you mean you're airing out your kid?
Yeah.
Wow. So a lot of these haven't really been funny. So they've been more of like, what the fuck, and
Yeah.
did that actually fucking happen?
Yeah.
So moving into the last category, which is going to be weird laws and fines. Kinda similar to the ones that you did.
Yeah.
Still probably not as good as the pickle one.
Do you want to say what you found out about the pickle? About why they did what they
Okay.
did, for if it can't be called a pickle unless it bounces?
So when I was doing my research, I found the reason why it can't be called a pickle unless it bounces, which isn't as funny as I was hoping, but still. So in a restaurant, tavern, whatever the fuck you want to call it, there was basically a health code violations of pickles that were horribly not even a pickle anymore.
Yeah, they were like rotting.
Yeah. So they came up with the idea of dropping the pickle from a certain height. And when you drop the pickle from the certain height, if it hits the floor and bounces a little bit, it's a good pickle. It is still a pickle. But if it drops and just splatters, it's not a good pickle anymore. But you
could just touch it, or
yeah,
even
you
look at
should
it.
know. If you're
Yeah.
touching it and it's all mushy, then
Yeah.
it's
I wouldn't
not
eat
good.
It.
They still didn't specify it if it was a full pickle, or I'm assuming it has to be a full pickle.
Yeah, not like a pickle chip.
Yeah. I don't even think Spears would even.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know. We'll have to test that theory.
We're gonna be in the kitchen or in the dining room, standing on the chair, dropping the pickles, and the guys are just gonna walk in and be like, "What the fuck are you? We're testing if the pickle is a pickle."
And then they're just gonna turn around and walk away.
Yeah. They shouldn't be surprised with some of the shit we did.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess let's get into it. In Georgia, it is illegal to carry an ice cream cone in your back pocket on Sundays.
What the fuck?
There is a reason.
So, does the cone have ice cream in it?
I would assume so. I mean, does that mean that you could just have a bear cone?
Yeah. Are you going around raw dogging your cone? Just letting people touch it?
Okay, so let's get... Before your mind starts running, let's get into the reasoning. This was because while people were away from home at church on Sundays, horse stealers would entice the horses with the ice cream cone in their back pocket with ice cream. If the owners came after them, the horse stealers couldn't be blamed because the horses followed them on their own.
Sure.
Yeah. And this law is still in effect, but it isn't really enforced. And it will probably remain on the books until it is specifically challenged in court. So it's pretty much written in the book, but no one does anything about it.
Yeah. That's funny. I like that one.
Go to fucking Georgia on a Sunday and I'm
Yeah.
gonna put my ice cream cone in my back pocket and see what they gonna do.
I just wanted your horses to... Well, I guess that would be considered...
But how did it not make a mess?
Right.
Melton or...
Mm-hmm. That's why I was wondering if, the cone was empty.
Maybe it was empty. I don't know, but it
Well,
just.
they said ice cream, so I'm assuming it had
Yeah, I
ice
would
cream
assume
in
in
Is that a sweet treat?
it. What if the horse caught up to you and like bit it, but like bit too much and bit your ass?
Yeah. This ice cream is a little chewy.
Ow. Our next one. In Carmel, California, it is illegal to wear high heels higher than 2 inches without a permit.
You would need like 8,000 permits with all of your shoes.
Yeah. It was initially enacted in 1963, specifically prohibiting wearing shoes with heels with measures more than 2 inches in height and less than 1 square inch of bearing surface upon the public streets of the sidewalks of the city. This has remained officially on the books for over 6 decades. It was created not to dictate fashion, but to shield the city from lawsuits. The trees throughout the city caused the sidewalks to become disordered and uneven from their roots. The law remains valid, but it's more of a souvenir opportunity. Permits are free and only require a photo ID.
I was very confused as to where that was going because I'm like, 63, that's when Grandma was born, and, the whole disco era when that came to be, and the platform shoes, and then, of course, the freaking big ass, not big ass, but, and then the stilettos, and...
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, granted, this is in just one city.
Yeah.
But it probably wasn't enforced that much.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I was like, ooh, high heels?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely got to do that one. On to the next. Wisconsin banned the manufacture and sale of margarine in 1895, and it lasted until 1976. So pretty close to 100 years.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, honestly, because, yeah.
Wisconsin has a big dairy tradition. This ban happened because there was pressure from the dairy industry to not sell margarine because it contains no dairy. It was reappealed and now just has strict rules on using margarine. It sets clear labeling and packaging requirements and is only permitted by certain packaging sizing. It also forbids serving margarine to students, patients, or inmates in state institutions except when medically approved. The first violation can be from a fine to up to 3 months in jail or both.
Damn.
But like, why can't you serve it to students and patients and inmates?
Yeah, I mean, I guess students and patients I can get because of like heart healthy type stuff, and students like because they're growing. Like, I guess I can get that, but inmates, you're in jail.
Yeah. Okay. Next, in Indiana, the court fined a chimpanzee that violated a South Bend ordinance by smoking a cigarette in public. In 1924, during a street performance, the chimpanzee took a hit from a cigarette and was immediately arrested. The chimp was brought before a judge and was fined $5. Where the fuck does he get his $5?
Yes, because a animal is going to understand the wrongdoing that he did.
Yeah.
When he's trained to do that.
Like, what the fuck?
It should have been his
owner or handler.
Handler, whatever, that should have been charged. That had to have been a like PR move. Like I
don't know. In a New Jersey code, it prohibits selling handcuffs to anyone under the age of 18. That's why I put that one in there. This rule has been enforced since 1991 to limit the access to handcuffs among minors.
That's very odd.
Yeah.
I think I was 18. I mean, I played with handcuffs before then. Get your mind out of the gutter. I was working at a work study at the courthouse.
Well, my parents had like my grandparents' stuff had handcuffs.
Yeah, they did.
I don't know if it was used for that or not, but I honestly...
your grandparents getting freaky.
I don't want to know. But like, they would put them on me, like, behind my back, and then, like, do the trick of just sliding them over to the front. Like, putting your butt and feet through it.
Yeah. To show you how to kind of get out of them or whatever.
Yeah. Or that, for some reason, they kind of, like, tested me to see if I could do it.
They're like, you should have been testing my sister.
Yeah. In Youngstown, Ohio, it prohibits vehicles from entering if they do not have enough gas to leave the city.
Well, fuck, I can't go.
The first offense is a fine, and then the second, if committed within 12 months of the first one, is another fine and up to 30 days in jail.
That I need to save in my memory.
Youngstown,
Ohio.
But, like, don't they have, like... Do they not have, like, gas stations in that town or something? Is that why?
That's interesting. I don't want to run out of gas there.
Yeah. Well, that's the only thing I think of is if they don't have a gas station, so when you come into there and you're looking for gas and then run out, and maybe they got annoyed with so many people that they would have to tow to a gas station.
Yeah. But it's all money because if they're towing, they're probably calling a tow company. And okay, there's gas stations.
Yeah, so I don't want to... But, like, if there is gas stations, why can't you enter it to get gas and then leave? Like, I don't... That's confusing.
I don't know. That's odd.
Yeah. In Cottage Grove, Minnesota, your house number determines what day you may water your grass. On odd calendar days, only owners with odd house numbers may water their grass and vice versa for even house numbers. On the 31st of each month, no one can water their lawn. They also can't water their lawn during the times of 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Violations can result in a misdemeanor that can be punished by fine or jail time.
See, that one makes sense to me. Like, I've heard of a lot of towns that have gone to that system where they, if you have city water anyways, that you...
Yeah.
Odd is on this day, evens on this day, and then no watering between 12 and 4. Which that totally makes sense to me because I've seen you're literally just wasting the water. There's no reason to water between that time.
Because it's like one of the hottest times of the day.
Yeah.
And the sun is at the highest point too.
Well, then your water would probably literally be running that whole entire time.
Yeah.
Just wait until like 7 o'clock and then water for like 15 minutes.
Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah.
In Florida, dwarf tossing was banned in 1989.
What the fuck?
Dwarf tossing used to be a popular game in bars where individuals with dwarfism were thrown into Velcro-coated walls or onto mattresses to see who could throw them the farthest. If caught, you could be fined $1,000.
Wow.
But, like, if the
Little people.
If the little people agree to be thrown, what does it matter?
Yeah. That is only in Florida, I guess.
Yeah.
Huh.
Apparently, it's used to be very popular.
I don't have anything to say.
So that was the last little info that I got for you today.
Interesting.
Thoughts or questions on any of it?
No,
Not even on the dwarf?
No, I just think. I mean, it's probably a good thing that banning.
Probably. Maybe too many little people have gotten hurt from it.
Yeah, because I imagine like some of the people could really
Well, and if you're like throwing it.
put some heat on that.
Well, and if you're trying to throw it the farthest, then you're gonna like.
Yeah. I don't
Whoa.
understand, like, how did that even become
I
a
don't
sport?
know.
Or, not a sport, but a game. Like,
Yeah. Fucking call it sport.
like, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah. Questions that probably won't get answered or will be answered by more questions.
Have you ever jumped on one of those Velcro walls?
I think maybe once.
They look like fun.
I think at one of the jumping places.
Oh yeah. I think it was the one a town over or 2 towns over. Or shit, we're like 4 towns over. And they had one. I can't remember what it's called. It's probably not called that anymore, but they had one.
I think it was for one of your boys' birthday.
Yeah, I think so too.
Definitely wasn't as funny as yours, but
There was some good parts though.
oh man. I'm more of one of the route of like, did that really happen? Like,
Yeah,
more
I mean,
like
I'm still kind of mind blown about the mine.
Yeah.
Like, I can't get the image of, like... And I know they're inmates. I know... But I also keep thinking of, was it something like the Salem witch trials where they didn't do anything... They didn't do anything wrong, except for people just accusing them of shit. Because they were odd.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they said some of them were just, like, loyalists to the King of England.
Yeah. So, like...
Were they even doing anything?
Yeah.
Or did you just, like, toss them in there?
Yeah.
Well, and how long were you in there? Did it depend on what type of crime you did? Or did it not matter? You were just in there for a certain amount of time or forever until you died?
Yeah.
Well, not to mention the conditions of a mine.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking, like, their skin was... They were probably... Sorry. You might want to shut this off if you're, squeamish, but their skin was probably rotting as they were still living, but it was probably rotting because of the conditions that they were in.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot of sorries, but...
Well, and was it like just, did they steal a piece of bread and you threw them in there?
Yeah.
Honestly, don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And don't know for certain, but pretty sure they were abused.
Yeah.
And mistreated by...
Oh, yeah.
I think it was a way for the public punishment to be secret punishment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So people wouldn't basically, I don't know, like, be on their ass about how they're punishing people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I believe that.
Yeah. But, like, that was the first thing that I found that I wanted to do, was the prison. So I was curious about that. I actually looked it up a while ago. I was like, because I was in the middle of writing a case, and it had nothing to do with the case. I wasn't even talking about prisons, and I had a thought, I'm like, what was the first prison in the United States?
Yeah.
So I just looked it up and spent, like, 30 minutes reading about it.
Yeah, that's a problem when we...
Yeah.
For sure, because it's like, well, I mean, our wall of sticky notes.
Yeah.
Over there. Yours are over there. Mine's right here.
You got a couple more than mine, though.
Well, mine has like other things like engagement parties,
Yeah.
things like that. So
I mainly just have like reminders and to like keep track of stuff.
yeah,
Well,
I have that and things I want to look up and badass bitch quotes, things like that.
Yeah. Well, and there's the two that have been up there forever that I stopped putting on the whiteboard because I got tired of rewriting.
There's no reason to put them up on the whiteboard. They're there.
Yeah.
We got this. Eventually.
Okay.
All right, so we have a lot planned for this upcoming year.
Yeah.
Okay, so our next episode will be Reddit, so tune in for that. And yeah.
Feels like we haven't done Reddits in like forever.
Yeah. With that, that's all we have for today. If you have any questions, you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, TikTok. I promise I'm going to get that going. And Instagram at Girls Gone Curious Podcast. Until next time.